A win down in Jamaica and a pretty stagnant draw back here at home. FC Cincinnati must have felt like I do coming back from the Caribbean after a bit of too much partying. Jet lag and a hangover. That or this club still has some rust to shake off as they push through these early February matches. Actually, it looked a bit bland around the league as a whole this weekend. We saw only a handful of clubs really pick back up where they left off last season, and the rest was everyone else trying to wake up. We want to dive into FC Cincinnati's start tonight and review how our other fellow Concacaf clubs did before we get ready for another fairly busy week. A bunch of you listening are planning to get right back on down to the stadium midweek for a colder match, I believe. That will likely finish off Cavalier and set up a pretty big two-match battle. I can't wait to chat with the team about that one. Speaking of the CST team, let's get these introductions made and get into the good stuff. Bryan Weigel, the steady hand that guides us from falling off a cliff. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, bud, if you jinx us with that little comment about Cavalier, I'm going to take that cream-colored shirt and throw paint all over it.
That's exactly what the club wants you to do, man. Paint this thing up. And we'll make a canvas out of it yet. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like that one's pretty safe. Of all the jinxes to put out in the world, I like this one.
I mean, there's always that cliche of those Caribbean countries coming up in the cold weather, and it's going to be wild because it's going to be like at 4 a.m. on Wednesday. It's going to be like 65, and at game time, 70. I just saw it 7 p.m. like 30 degrees. So, hey, Brad has the tickets this Wednesday. So, sucks to be you.
It's no Trinidad and Tobago, surely. Let's. What do we have up here next? Oh man, the long time. You know, I saw this man on TV. I was walking through the stadium, looked up at the TV screen, and there he was, Bill Wolf. His face. Welcome in, sir. How you doing?
I'm great and glad to be back. So, figured definitely want to get this season started right. So I joined CST and get you guys off to a good start.
Yeah. We appreciate it. That was pretty cool. They did lots of Bailey shots before the game. I think you guys got there pretty early. Is that a first game thing or is that an every?
Yeah, it's a first game thing. I mean, we are getting there earlier since last year. That was something. We have I wouldn't say monthly meetings with the club, but we have regular meetings with the club. And at the beginning of last year, there was a discussion about how much filling the Bailey ahead of the game, like during warm-ups, affected the team, that the attitude of the team was completely different coming into the locker room when the Bailey was full versus when it wasn't. So we've made an effort by the request of essentially Pat Noonan himself to get that Bailey full as early as we can, so that when the team goes back into the warm-ups, they're feeling the energy already.
All right. It was surprising. I thought I was like going to get to Washington Park in time. You guys were already leaving. I was like, how about an hour early? Early?
So, there's a couple of things that happen there, right? One is it's the opening day, so you never really know what's going to happen. So you're, give yourself a little extra time. And then I think the other thing is we were all so pumped about the game that we were probably walking twice as fast as we normally walk. So yeah, there could be a little bit of multiple things happening there. So
that's all right. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so you got a lot of TV time just because of that, I think. And finally, the smooth voice of Bryan Biedenbach back once again in his cool black studio. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I was just thinking today I don't have much color in here. I need to get those kits back up behind me. But I'm testing out. I'm going to call this my Canvas microphone. Trying something new. And I'll white it out. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm digging the random, stuffed animal cat that's back there. I assume it's stuffed or a dead one you've taxidermied.
Yeah, no, that's the one. I think Coach said something early on last season, and my brother sent me that. So it shows up from time to time in the background there. So you can thank Coach for that.
That's all right, Coach. Appreciate it. And let's move on. Real quick, let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, Apollo Home. New season and new deals from Apollo to kick off the 2024 season. They are offering $24 heating tune-up of your HVAC system, $24 whole house plumbing evaluation, or a $24 electrical safety evaluation. Give them a call or book online at apollohome.com. And heaven forbid you need all of those at the same time. They probably can cut you a deal, but I would advise you take care of them one by one. All right. Let's get into your best and worst of the week. Mr. Weigel, we'll start there.
Well, I have a couple bests of the week. First best was we got more toilets in the bathrooms, baby. Yes, we've been asking for that big old open space in the bathrooms to be filled, and yes, they somehow snuck in another one. So props to you, Jeff Birding and co, for shortening the line ever so minimally, but great job. Also love the new speaker edition in the bathrooms. So that's cool. When you have a son who has the bladder of a peanut, that came in handy this weekend. My other best of the week was Dado Valenzuela. Was very impressed with his creativity, his willingness and desire to get on the ball and to try to create things. Yes, did he have some potential issues of, running in the same space as others? Yeah, but overall, I was very happy that the young guy impressed in, 2 meaningful games, we'll say. You don't necessarily like to throw your young guys out to the wolves in a 0-0 game, but he did really well. So I was very, very impressed with his rapport between him and Acosta and his impression. So my worst, this kind of cracks me up a little bit because I've been preaching this to my youth team that I'm coaching, is taking the space. And I'm really wanting like Ian Murphy and Miles Robinson, when they get on the ball, to push up the field and not necessarily have to have, especially in the Toronto game, have the new guy Buka come back so far deep to receive the damn ball. Like, take that space that they're giving you, push up the field a little bit more, and get our attack higher up the field. I just felt we sometimes had this huge gulf between our forward line and our back. So just want to see that maybe to be changed a little bit more. Overall, I think our defense did tremendous in 2 shutouts, but I think they could have helped a little bit more in our attack.
Yeah, we're at least that Barreal push, aren't we? But...
Yes. But hey, Luka did come into his own a little bit.
I've sat with you before. You mentioned your kid's peanut bladder there, but you also need to take some of the blame, man. I've sat with you. You buy a Coke that's half the size of this kid's body.
Dude, we're going to talk about that, but another best of the week is the commemorative cups, baby. Those are legit. I hope they showed Obi the commemorative cup. Normally they're like these big blue ones, but this year they're like black and has a picture of Lucho Acosta, Roman Celentano, and Obi Wobodo, and they're like holographic. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah, he smashed a Mountain Dew. Don't tell his mom.
All right, Bill, you're up.
Oh, wow. Okay. After that, let's see. So best for me, actually, Bryan kind of said it at the end of his, which was, the clean sheets, right? 2 clean sheets, defensive depth, right? We didn't have Miazga for this game. Kip Keller steps in. Hagelin's still injured. So even with some key people out, what we have for that back 3 with Nobodo, call it a back 4, maybe in that sense, is pretty solid. So I like this defensive spine. You can even throw Celentano in there, and those 5 and the rotation we have looks like we're off to a really good start for the season. I think that was something that, ironically, in preseason people were worried about. And so far, defensively, it looks good. And the attack, which everybody thought was great in preseason, is maybe not quite where it was. So that's also maybe my worst a little bit, which was, during the preseason, like it seemed like Boop scored a goal every time, you looked at him. I had a great preseason for all, measures, but then didn't start the one game he was eligible for. I guess they said he didn't go to Cavalier because of visa concerns, and they didn't want him to, be risking being late back to this game. And then he didn't start. So I don't know if he picked up a knock. I didn't hear anything. Maybe somebody heard something, but
they said on the broadcast he was nursing a hamstring injury and he was on time restriction.
Okay. So that's what I didn't hear, obviously, at the game. But yeah, it was a little disappointing to not see him start after that. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it would have changed things out there. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I think my best is I think we saw flashes of what could be. I think Luka had some moments that he looked really good and some moments that he wasn't quite connecting with Lucho, and Buka played really well in the first game, and I feel like disappeared for most of the first half in the match at home on Sunday. But I think we saw flashes of what could be when they put pieces together. I think we've got a strong attack. We just, again, I think my worst then is the decision making up top. I think we got into the attack, but I think when things weren't clicking right away, Lucho hung onto the ball a little too much. He tried to put some balls in the back of the net, which I can't fault him for when other things weren't clicking, but there were times that he had guys running in behind and the decision to pass it wasn't there because he tried to shoot. And even Boop, when he came in, I feel like he passed up a couple opportunities to shoot that ball on a strong left foot. He held up and tried to make a pass across when last year I think he probably would have just ripped it. But I don't know. I think the decision-making will come, but that was my worst. I will say, if I could say another best, you guys were all at the game, yeah? I was home watching on TV, as I always do. And Cangelosi, I think, was the commentator. And did you watch any of the replays? Did you guys see
what
any of that?
replays?
Well,
Are there highlights?
I just mean, did you go back and watch any of the broadcast? Because the things that he was saying, I was laughing out loud at. Things about Toronto just needs something good to happen to make them feel good about themselves at the beginning of the season. And right after he said that is when Prince saved the ball. Like, he fell and he stumbled and he rolled. Oh, that's the worst thing that could have happened to Toronto right now. And he's just making comment after comment, and I was laughing out loud. So that was one of my best.
I had a conversation with a Toronto fan in the line for the Roses. Speaking of that, my son's he ate all my damn pizza. I'm pissed at him. But this Toronto guy is like, he's just like, we're going to be terrible. We're awful. I'm like, yeah, I think you guys are okay. Oh, you guys are so kind. You're so kind. Like, they have zero faith in their team, and I can see why.
All right, let's get into some of yours. Rupesh jumps in on Facebook saying the best are the center backs. Man, I never thought I'd see that take for FC Cincinnati, especially Kip Keller. Worst offensive cohesion. Over on YouTube, Josh Saber says the best FC Cincinnati is back. Worst, criticizing low energy in the stadium. I think that's what happens in those 0-0 games, though. Augustin, good evening, FCC fam. He says, good evening to you, our old friend. Best defensive back line. Worst offensive power. Kevin Michael on Facebook saying, first CCC win. And worse, the guys look exhausted Sunday from the short turnaround. Jose, FCC played their game against the Cavaliers. Worst, flat and unimaginative against Toronto. So thanks. We got a lot of good ones out there. My best is totally a cop-out, but it was an awesome day for a February game. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, or maybe even last year, we froze our tails off in this one, and we'll probably freeze our tails off Wednesday. So I appreciate is it Wednesday or Thursday, guys? I can't remember. But
Wednesday.
But I appreciate these nice, warm midweek games when you can get them, or weekend games when you can get them. Worst, FC Cincinnati has way too much good merch this year. I mean, last year I felt like it was a little bit easier to say no, but geez, there's some cool stuff. And I got suckered into a game day purchase, walked by one of the little stands. I didn't even make it to the team store. Thank God. I'd have no wallet. But I walked by one of those like mini stands and picked up a hoodie. I've never paid over $100 for a hoodie in my life until this weekend. So congratulations, FC Cincinnati. I hope you are a top revenue earner this year after people like me can't say no. I don't know. I got a problem, I think. So we'll move on to the first match of the week, Champions Cup. FC Cincinnati's first ever Champions Cup win. I thought it was pretty cool to even be in this tournament and playing. We go down to Jamaica. Were you scared? Anybody scared, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in? Because it's still 0-0. Or was it just obvious that we were going to be okay?
I think like 2 minutes in, the other team had a corner kick, and I was a little timid. But after I saw that it took them 18 seconds to get a shot off after controlling possession, I felt pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't too concerned about that match, except the one opportunity we lost the ball and they brought it down and cracked one right at Celentano. But the thing I was most worried about is that I don't think the pitch looked good at all. Our guys were slipping around and sliding, and passes weren't getting where they needed to go. So I was concerned more that they would get out of there healthy. Putting the ball in the back of the net, we had opportunity after opportunity to do that, but I just wanted them to get home, get off that pitch.
It is tough. How do you break in? Those of you that play soccer and have been out there on the pitch a lot more than I have, when they put 11 guys behind a ball like that, I mean, it's one of the biggest shells I think I've seen, and that's, I guess, what you do when you're heavily playing against a heavily favored team. How do you break that? I mean, is it just luck of the draw? Do you push them to, like, I don't know. I for a second there, I was like, I don't know how to get past it.
The thing that I noticed in that game is their keeper, Cavalier's keeper, I'm blanking on his name right now, was not handling the balls from distance well at all. And I don't know if it was because he couldn't see it coming through traffic, but I just think if they took more shots from outside, they'd be able to crash the goal. I don't know that you do that every game, but man, he was struggling to see those balls coming in.
Well, I think you also take those shots from distance as well to try to see if you can pull that 11 block out, right? You want to, force them to take you more serious when you're a little further out from goal, so they can't stay as compact. But the other one would be to get balls behind the defense. So crosses, obviously, if they can take it out wide and cross it in, get it behind the defense, at least there's some opportunities there. But it's tough. I mean, a lot of our game is about kind of, those slick passes from Acosta through. And when you've got 11 guys standing there trying to block it, it's hard to find those paths. So.
Yeah, I think at one point I turned to Kana and I said, I'm not even worried about the counter at this point, because they had their number 9 so deep in the defense that I was let's just say they get a killer turnover and they kick it up. Like, where's that guy? I mean, we had 3 guys back. They had no one. So in a way, we were defending against nothing. And then there was one breakaway they were primed and ready for. I don't know if you guys remember this. Celentano had to come up pretty big for it. And if that would have happened, then we would have been down 1 to Cavalier, and things would have been a little bit more shaky. And I think if you were surprised at the level of bunkering before, if they would have gone up 1-0, it would have been pretty ironclad.
But I guess I felt like even after we scored at the end of the first half, going into the second half, they didn't really change their strategy. I mean, they didn't come out aggressive to come back.
No.
So,
Bill, maybe they're just confident, and the plan was like, you know what? We'll get them at their place.
Makes perfect sense. TQL is not known for being a very good venue for us.
I think they got to lay odds on this. Are we going to have more or less fans than they did? That's the biggest question. 650? 650, is that really?
It's a tough one, yeah.
It reminded me of a college soccer game, especially like with the post-match picture between the team and the fans behind them. That was kind of neat. Oh, goodness.
If you're afraid to play preseason, I mean, just play preseason, because it's the same as that, right? I actually love hearing it's the only time you can ever hear the coaches and players yelling at each other, and you get a little bit of insight on what they're looking for. It's as I don't know, as someone who likes to analyze some things about the game, those are the cool ones, I think, to figure out what Pat's been working on or who wants what.
Bryan, what did you say the attendance was?
Like 650, it was under 1,000 in a 30,000 seat venue.
I think we had Did you hear the stats of that game? I think we completed more passes than they had fans in.
Oh my God, it's right about there. I think
It was like 650 to 100 and something.
Yeah, that's
wild.
wild. I mean, I it was nice to see the guys kind of ease into the season. I would take playing Cavalier over, Saprissa or any other Central American teams, just to kind of get that, ease us into that competition. I mean, it's not going to be easy here on out, but giving us the opportunity to go into a different environment is a learning experience for our guys. And I know we'll mention this later on, but just having to throw in Pinto, to throw on Valenzuela, and get these guys additional time, having Buka still play with Lucho, and you can see the talent there. I think you saw some heavy legs on Sunday. I mean, our guys were playing till essentially midnight Thursday night and having to hop on a plane Friday, which tires you out on a 3-4 hour plane flight. So I'm not trying to make a bunch of excuses for our guys, but there was, I think, all the teams that played midweek were winless this past weekend in Major League Soccer. So it's challenging. That being said, I think we handled ourselves professionally. We respected the competition by playing our good players, and we still handled business.
Yeah. So what if you're Cavalier and you're coming here? Do you think they're excited about playing here just for getting out of Jamaica, seeing a new experience, or you just dreading it?
They're going to be taking selfies. They're going to be taking selfies in the stadium.
They canceled their match on the weekend or postponed it.
Oh, really?
Yes, 100% taking the competition seriously. And I mean, I'm not very scared, but I'm interested to see how they play differently.
How do you think we're going to play? Would you roll out the same starters when you already have a 2-goal lead? You taking it pretty seriously, or you putting FCC 2 in there and rolling the dice?
I don't know. Last time.
Brett Halsey up top. No.
Kubo with the gloves.
I mean, it's going to be 30 degrees. So, I mean, it's proper football weather. I think you definitely have a rotated side and kind of treat it like a U.S. Open Cup game, maybe, where like you have Jimenez. I don't know if he's healthy or not, but Jimenez in the midfield and bring on Lucho if you need him. I think you keep him off, and you got we play Chicago on the weekend in Chicago, and I think you need to go get points where they're able to be had, but you still have our guys ready just in case.
I'd like to see a new pairing up top. I think since Boop can start, I think get him in, get his legs under him a little bit, maybe see a little bit of what Kimi can do, like we would have done in an Open Cup match. Give him a chance. We've seen a little bit of Baird. We've seen what Santos can do. I think give him a shot up top just to start. That's what I'd like to see. I don't know if they'll roll that out or not, but have you guys seen enough of what you want to see out of Baird so far? I know it's only been 2 games, but would you put him in the starting role with Boop or Santos?
I think right now for me, I'd save Boop for Chicago, especially if he had a small injury going into this last game. Wouldn't be worth it to me. I mean, I don't have any concern about winning this game. So, I mean, I would definitely give Santos and Baird more out there. We could actually give Dotto even a shot to start in my mind, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. You know, we didn't have Oriano for the game in
I'm not sure Oriano's going to be available for this game.
Okay, so even if he was, I probably wouldn't start him or even play him. You know, like let's just rest some of these guys. You know, we put we had Kubo. I don't know. We could even have Powell if he's healthy enough.
Yeah.
So
I think the game's going to be different. We were talking a little bit beforehand. I think playing on a better surface. I don't care who you throw out there. It's going to be a better look as far as just completing. We completed a lot of passes, but man, it was sloppy getting there.
I was just gonna say, just because it's a better surface, look how many times the ball got caught under Santos and Baird's feet this weekend.
That's true.
Scored up behind them. So
the grass was long, Bryan. Did you see that?
I
Yeah.
didn't see that
They were complaining that it was playing slow.
at
Yeah.
TQL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Clifford Adams on Facebook said after the game, Lucha made excuses, said the grass was too long.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's February in Ohio, so guys, you're gonna do what
Yeah,
keeps it alive.
I was gonna say they're probably just happy it was growing. They're like,
Yeah.
cutting that.
Bill and I were talking offline. We had a 60 or 70-degree day today, essentially on Monday, 55 on Sunday. We played our home opener in Nippert Stadium on April 9th with snow. So we're pretty lucky, and we might see snow Wednesday. We'll see.
Yeah, we're not out of the. I don't think that we're out of the woods with the weather yet. March in Cincinnati.
It's gonna come get us.
Well, according to the the TQL scoreboard, it's going to be 92 this week. So El Nino in full force. I don't know if any of you guys got to see those pictures, but that was an old image.
You said, Brian, something about Corey Baird, and I'm concerned. A lot of MLS fans online, when that signing was made, kind of looked at us with very puzzled looks and made comments about how he's a bit overrated and just doesn't bring it. I think his success is 100% going to be whether he can get on the same page with Lucho and whoever else serves that in. If it's not, if he can't get on the same page, and so for that reason, I would go ahead and maybe give him some more playing minutes because Lucho was never going to sit out. So
I'm not worried at all. I know there's
not?
a lot of I'm not worried at all with Corey Baird. I don't I'm not jumping for joy because I don't expect him to be our day in, day out starter. I expect him to be our Christian Ramirez. The guy comes in off the last 30 minutes and runs you to death, runs around, be smart, presses when we need him to be, counter presses. So I still think we're going to be bringing somebody else in. I think you're probably have 2 signings over the next couple weeks. And overall, I thought his movement was fine. And in Jamaica, he was fine. He challenged the back line. Yes, did he have some issue? I really think in the transition moments, him and Santos both struggled, and it's like they just lost control. Let them get their footing in. Let them get the foundations, their patterns of play. I mean, this is about a new side as we could have had. Like every single guy in the starting lineup, besides Celentano and Lucho and Obi, were in new spots or new players in general. So, I mean, I'm very forgiving, and I did see a lot. I saw a lot of good runs. It's just the final product wasn't there that I think will be there. And let's be real, Toronto was still pretty stout defensively. They were compact at the back. Their defensive midfielder, I can't remember the guy's name. He sunk back pretty damn far, and that didn't allow them to get forward. They sat back Larea. They sat back their. I think it was Bernadeschi was playing right back. So it's wild stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't like they had a bunch of room either.
Yeah. No, I thought Baird played well, and you saw that moment of almost brilliance, that half bike that would have been incredible and would have won everybody over in that moment right then. I thought he played well. I just wondered, talking on the broadcast and just watching the game, we don't have that strong player without Vasquez that can hold up the ball. So I just wonder if that style are we going to find that, or are we going to go with 2 strikers that are loose and free and running and not playing any of that strong hold up play?
Yeah. So here's the one thing I would say, and I know I don't mean to be jumping off a different tangent to what you're going there, is I did like though how Baird and I guess Lucho, for lack of better, and Buka, I guess, we're trying to win the ball right away.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to win the ball high up the field, get that ball turned over right away. Were we successful? Completely no, but I did like seeing those chances and how fast we were able to get the ball, back in our possession.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Coach's thoughts as well, so we're going to throw it to him in a second. But first, Beyond Exercise is a second half sponsor of this show. They are a local physical therapy and fitness business that helps anyone get active and stay active. In fact, they've helped plenty of local FC Cincinnati players, Nick Hagelin and Brandon Vasquez, with their physical therapy and strength training during the offseason. Ask the fellows at Beyond Exercise about the ACL prevention screen, which was piloted with Nick and Brandon. Learn more at gobeyondexercise.com. And we asked Coach a similar question since he couldn't be on tonight, so we'll go to him.
Hey, everybody, it's time for Coach's Tactical Takeaway, a segment where I'm going to come in each week and tell you one tactical thing that is on my mind. This week, I am wondering, when is it time for Coach Pat Noonan to start giving some of these young players some meaningful minutes? This team is in 2 competitions right now, and the games are coming thick and fast. We saw last season how important it is to have rotational pieces that can come in and perform in crunch time when things really matter. We've seen Malik Pinto come in against Cavalier in the Concacaf Champions Cup and score an important goal. We've seen Dado Valenzuela give good minutes off the bench in each of this team's first 2 matches. However, it still seems like Pat is favoring starting Yuya Kubo at wingback over Brett Halsey. And we're going to have to find time to give some guys a rest. Guys like Obi Wobodo and Lucho Acosta, who are really going to matter to this team day in and day out. Plus, there are going to be games down the stretch when players like Dado or Pinto or even Kimi Ordonez are going to have to really be relied on. Maybe even cup games, elimination games. So I say, Pat, start rotating these guys into the starting lineup now, not just giving them minutes as late game substitutions, but do it intelligently. Do it 1 or 2 at a time. Surround these kids by veterans so they can have a lot of success. FCC will be better for it come October. And that's Coach's tactical takeaway for week 1. If you want to get more content like this, make sure you head on over to get subscribed to Talking Tactics with Coach Goff, wherever you get your podcast today.
I think that's a pretty tough one. Play the kids, but
Yes,
a lot of teams make the playoffs nowadays.
I leaned over to my cousin's fiance. He's a Crew fan, and we had some discussions about that on Sunday. But I said to him, this is, last year, Columbus Crew, it was about integrating their kids and getting them to be effective, 13 through 18 on that roster, okay? Or maybe 15 through 19 on that roster. You get them effective where they're mattering. It's challenging decisions and challenging the matchups. Like Mo Farsi, like he played Julian Gressel off the field. I'm not saying that Malik Pinto is going to play Buka off the field, but let's get these guys going now so we can bring them on as impact players when it's meaningful in the cup run. And we have to do that. We absolutely have to freaking do that. I didn't bring him Rupesh. Sorry, we have a comment why to bring. That was my other cousin. We have 6 seats and it's his share. Yes, whatever. He's a very nice individual.
Well,
endorsement.
Cobra Kid asking if we're taking questions over on Twitter. Yeah, if you've got something, just throw it in there, and we will put it up there for you, Cobra.
Hey, did you guys see the new signs for the Bailey, by the way?
No.
No yellow in the Bailey.
No kidding. Good for you.
Yeah.
Thought it was no wave in the Bailey.
Well, that maybe too, but the new sign this year, no yellow in the Bailey.
I did like the tifo, by the way. I know there were some discussions about that online. I thought if we can, was it the most wild tifo in the history of FCC? No, but it was tasteful. It was an homage back to Lucho Acosta. Hit all the right notes and set a good tone. So props to is it the Forge that worked on that? So love seeing that.
Yeah, it was an homage to a local artist as well. Sorry, I can't pull out the name, but somebody probably remembers.
Oh yeah. I do not. I know nothing about art, but
either do I.
I did. No, I liked it, and I actually had a thought went through my head if it was the whole Miazga heart. So I think there's 1,000 ways you can go with it, but I thought it was fine. I prefer to see. I'm hoping the Forge brings out a little bit more this year. We used to just do a handful of really big ones, and if they went and did more small ones, I would be happy with that. I think it's a boost for everybody in the stadium as well. So I'm all about it. Anything else about Toronto you guys want to touch on while we're there? The big 0-0. Roman Celentano had a good save. Toronto had a really good save for their own team, as you guys mentioned.
I think
does that go in?
That's going in.
Yeah,
that's absolutely going in.
Was that a handball? Was it a handball or was it?
Absolutely. It hit both his hands.
Yeah.
Hit one, bounced up, hit him in the chest, and dropped and hit the other hand. And then Roman slid in underneath him and grabbed it.
The one question I had, people are just decrying our effort and the quality of the match. I do not think that Toronto is the 13th, 14th, whatever the worst place in the East. I don't think they're the wooden spoon team again. I don't think they're necessarily a playoff team.
It's really hard not to be a playoff team.
Here's the thing that kind of got me with those guys. There was a true lack of effort. There was a true lack of effort on so many plays with Toronto, where I say it was on the right side. I think Bernadeschi. It's if those guys could just take the space up that flank where Luka would vacate the space going forward, and we turn the ball over. If they had somebody that could just run down that one path, we would have been in trouble. I don't think we played great, but I don't know.
I don't think I think you're right. Toronto's not the same team they were last year. I think they've made some good moves. I think we were tired. We had heavy legs, but I think Toronto showed out a little bit more. And again, I go back to some of the comments that Cangelosi was making that were just, Lucho had more goal contributions last year than Toronto had goals all season. And just hearing that overlaid with the way the match was being played was just kind of in stark contrast to the Toronto of last year, losing 17 of their last 18 matches and then showing out against the Shield winners last year. I don't think they're the same team, but I don't think we showed our best either. And someone mentioned in the comments too that, we got home, Cincinnati got home at 4 a.m. on Friday. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then had the day off. And so they were tired. They weren't gelling. I don't know. You can make all the excuses you want, but I don't think we played our best, but Toronto showed out for that game, I thought.
Yeah, I think for Toronto, the real question is just how fragile are they? I mean, honestly, we saw that with our wonderful first 3 seasons that, you could start strong. You can have, a game or 2 here and there, but mentally, where is the team at? And having gone through what they went through last year, if we had smacked them down 3-0 or something, that could have ended their season. I mean, it literally could have been that simple. And the question really is going to be, how do they do over the next handful of games, and how does their season start? If they can keep it up, they might be fine. But I think mentally, it's tough for a team that suffered a lot last year. If they start to feel that pattern again, not to fall right into it. And we saw that. We lived that.
I thought we'd get a chance to see your guy Angulo, Mr. Weigel, but again, a no-show. I don't know. Is he even going to be a part of this team at this point? I mean, the FC Cincinnati spent money, decent money on this player.
Just gonna do me like that, huh? Yeah. I mean, I think Pat and Laura both put out stories that FCC was looking for a loan, and the guy was nowhere to be found. Gerard Nijkamp was at the game, so maybe he's taking him back with him to Sparta Rotterdam. We'll see, giving us a fat check for that. Yeah, I don't know. There's been some rumblings around the team that Marco has enjoyed his American experience, a la Kevin Schindler, and for somebody who's on a lot of money and hasn't really done much positive on the field, maybe a short-term change of scenery is a good thing. I don't know if he's moving along or what exactly, but I mean, he was in Jamaica, then not here in Cincinnati. So that leads me to think something could be happening somewhere. I don't know. I wish the best for the guy, but if he'd be gone for some reason on the field, I wouldn't be shedding a tear right now.
They're saying it's a private family matter, but I don't think it matters. I mean, I don't think we would have seen him out in the pitch anyway. Pat Noonan has not seemed to favor him in the last year and a half. And would you pay?
I was all for playing him this whole year if we can, because we need to rebuild up that value. Like, I don't want to see another Isaac Atanga situation. And I mean, this guy was getting Ecuadorian national team call-ups. I don't know, man. It's just you hear the tales around the team and what he might be doing. I just, at some point, we need that position financially for us to be paying dividends, and it is absolutely not.
Yeah, at some point, it's not worth diving deep into, but it's just worth popping up, and then if there's a continuing theme, we'll dive into it deeper in the next coming weeks. MLS teams who played midweek, you guys mentioned this a little bit earlier, went 0 wins, 1 loss, 5 draws. You hear all of the commentators talk about it every year, and to be honest with you, I kind of blew it off. Like, I always thought it was a benefit. Seattle Sounders get to play extra preseason games that were real minutes, and then they come storming back in the summer, and they always ended up doing well. This is kind of back even before we had an MLS team. Now that you're experiencing it, I mean, it's only been a week, so you would think like the guys can't really be that tired. But there you go. The stats speak for themselves. 1 loss, 5 draws. Is the CCC curse real? Is your season not really starting until this thing's over? Whoever wants to take it, go.
Bill looks like he wants to speak.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll throw something out there, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right in the sense that how much long-term fatigue could the guys have built up at this point, right? We see that through the grind of the season when you start to do those 2 games a week, week in, week out. But in theory, they're fresh right now, right? So that doesn't play there. But on the flip side, I think it also takes teams a little while to really get truly match fit, right? So you're starting off the season and to hit that hard that fast when they're not really fully fit, it might take more out of them than what they could do midway through the season. So
yeah,
it definitely, I mean, the stats are the stats, right? I mean, we at some point data doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm. I like Eric's question. Let's throw it to him. What do you think of Garber and GM's meeting for changes to the rosters, maybe coming in time for the summer window? What Eric's talking about here is that 12 of the MLS owners are going down to Miami for a meeting about roster rule changes. Meeting in Miami is interesting. But do you think we'll see it this season?
Yeah, I wonder who the 12 are. That would be one question for me. I don't know.
Yeah, but you hope it's not like the old school 12, right?
Yeah.
You want like
Dallas and Columbus and DC United.
Am I the only one that's skeptical on this whole thing?
I guess because
this is like something like he can say, "Hey, we're trying to do this." Let's be real. You have a collective bargaining agreement with the players. So what are you going to do? Is this only going to be, "Hey, let's add a DP spot"? Are we going to add?
We're going to add Wham. Miami? Yeah, Bill, we thought of the same joke.
Man, Messi allocation money. I do think that you heard the discussions from the head of the Apple TV package wanting more players to be signed. So, hopefully there's something that we can do there in the short term. I'm not as optimistic for wholesale changes in season. But maybe we get another DP spot or some change that doesn't affect the bargaining agreement. I think the large thing's going to happen this offseason. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. You have to negotiate these things out. You have so many teams right now trying to put the package together for April. I mean, are we really going to rock the boat now with something, just a massive wholesale change in time for July. I don't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong again. Apparently, I'm taking else tonight per Rupesh.
Yeah, unlike what happened last year midseason when they didn't do anything random and
they didn't do anything this offseason. It was tragic. We were talking about that the whole time. That was the biggest failure of the the everything right now. They did
nothing.
Capitalize on Messi.
The two little things they did, right? They backed out because of the referee situation.
Yeah, which is a bummer because we could have used both of those, I think, in the stadium. Everybody around me was like, I thought the clock was supposed to keep running.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, not till the refs are back.
Is that what that was? It was because the refs weren't.
They postponed the new rule changes. So if you were confused at TQL Stadium, that's why. We'll see those. I think they just didn't want to overwhelm the new guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wondered why. So Santos was running by the refs, like checking the what time, how much time, and I was wondering that. I thought they had it up in the stadium. I guess not.
Soon, whenever this lockout is over. Replacement refs overall, though. What have you thought? I watched a couple MLS games so far this season. I haven't seen any horrific mistakes, so I think that kind of speaks to a little bit of. We were all scared, but if this is just my take, I think we have some quality in the college system and the USL system that maybe it's not all just garbage down there, like we've been warned.
I mean,
I watched.
Guys, so, yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
But I was gonna say, I know a lot of those guys. I think they're obviously not working at the same level as MLF refs, but they are very professional. I think there's a lot of talent down there. I was not concerned at all, and I think pretty much it played out as I expected. So,
Brian, you gonna go before I go on my rant?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll jump in. I didn't think there was anything horrific. I watched 3 or 4 matches throughout the weekend, and I thought missed calls here and there. There were a lot of. Somebody had mentioned, maybe you're going to talk about this, Brian, the turned over, like the overturned calls with VAR. But that's what it's there for, right? To get something, to get it right. But I don't think there's anything horrific. I think the ref I think it was our match that I was watching. It might've been one of the night before, was trying to take control of the game. It looked like was making calls that maybe other refs would have let go initially. But was trying to keep control of the game early on, and so I can't fault him for that. But yeah, Brian, I want to hear your rant. Ready? Go.
All right. So I was going to say that the efficacy rate of MLS refs calls is in the 98th percentile. Okay, so these guys are getting all the little calls, or most of the little calls, right. It's the big calls, the important calls. So far, things have seemed to be going okay, but the checks that we put in place for the VAR for 14 overturned calls, that's not a great look. But hey, the league still got it right. Mark Geiger is one of the most accomplished refs in the history of the games, overseeing all of VAR calls. So that's cool in itself. But at the end of the day, it's not about Ted Uncle. It's about the assistant refs. And do we want to make our refs gig people, or do we want to make them fully professional employees? Okay. And yeah, the accountant in Miami who travels to San Francisco still might not give up his full-time job, but we still want him to prioritize honing his craft and not having to decide between one thing and the other. That's why I think this is a silly work stoppage on the part of Pro and the PSRA. I'm not good. MLS is the customer. It's Pro. Okay. It's not Carl Linner being oh, F these refs. No, it's people that are overly critical of finances when they don't necessarily have to be. It's $111,000 per team. Come on. It's a rounding error to make assistant refs full-time employees and to give our center officials $20,000 more a year. Come on, it's easy. Just because a college ref can do something very well, and I think they did very well, all things considered, doesn't mean that's who we really want to be in these situations. When the center ref this weekend in the Cincinnati game, I thought did exceptional for what I was expecting, but not in the grand scheme of things. Like, he wasn't tremendous. Like, I think he didn't run the game nearly as great as he could have. But also, props to Lucho Acosta for being respectful for the officials and telling his guys to go away and not like accost this center official. I mean, there's a respect there on his side. I don't think was shared with Toronto's side. So I think there's a maturity thing there. But overall, at the end of the day, let's just get this damn thing done. Pay the guys. They deserve it. It's like, it's not insignificant money. It's like $3 million a year, but come on, guys. This is silly. We don't need this press.
You said something about paying the accountants. I'm an accountant. Does that mean if I unionize, I can start getting paid to do this show? Is that what you're saying, Brian? I just gotta.
You can't run.
I don't have to run.
You look good in that cream-colored shirt there, pal.
All right, we had plenty of new players out on the pitch, and I want to get your reviews on them.
Oh, hold on. Kevin and Michael.
Sure.
Here's a question. Why are refs wearing pro patches on their chests if their replacement and the pro refs are locked out? No, the pro refs are not locked out. The PSRA refs are locked out. Pro is just like that.
It's a company.
Yeah, essentially it's the company that MLS hires that also owns. It's wild. So, yes. There's a lot more people more smart than I about the subject, but yes, they're like temporary employees. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. And so with that, we'll dive into your new-ish player reviews because I want to see after 2 games we've seen a little bit of a handful. We're even gonna we'll just do a thumbs up, thumbs down from all of you since we're only 7 minutes away from the end of the show.
Ready?
I like that. Yeah, I'm ready. Roman Emperor style. Bucha. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down for Bucha's play.
3/4 up.
Yeah.
I have 1 full, 2 full, and one 3/4. So
not yet.
We'll give it a 2.75 out of 3 on the thumb scale. Miles Robinson.
Yeah.
3 thumbs up for Miles Robinson. I think the back line, 2 clean sheets, hard to argue with that performance. Luka. This is hard because he's replacing Barreal.
Yeah, dude, the guy locked down players and he's never played a lick of defense in his life. Good for him.
Yeah, he's not Barreal yet, but there's a lot of flashes of inspiration for me there.
I don't know that he's played the left side of the field either. He's always been an inverted winger from what I've seen. So switching over, I'm not a full thumbs up yet, but I think I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know why, if you're seeing on my screen, I'm giving like the bubble thumbs up somehow. I don't know how that's happening.
Oh my God, you are? How'd you do that?
I have no idea. I got to figure this out.
Are you sure that's not people? Are you sure that's not people in chat?
No, it happens every time I'm on a call. I think there's a setting on my computer I got to figure out.
What kind of computer you got? I got to figure this out.
Because we are getting.
Yeah, no, this is my MacBook. I was scratching my arm earlier and I gave a thumbs up somehow. I don't know how that happened.
It's probably like the camera is looking at your hand.
Come on,
I think it is, but I don't know why it's happening now. And anyway,
well, like when you're scratching, right? You went like this.
Exactly.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're getting lots of thumbs ups, and I even got a sideways finger in chat. I didn't even know you could do that emoji. So that's pretty cool. Corey Baird. So far, you guys are.
Yeah.
I'm like 75% on there.
That's a 1.5.
Yes.
That's a 1.5.
That's a full thumb up, Brian.
Bubble thumb up. Yep.
I got 3 halves for Corey, so that's 1.5. We're gonna give him to him. Dado, is that how you say it? Yeah, I'm with you. That was he. I thought he had a stellar performance. A lot of energy. Really brings it when he's out there.
And the green boots.
And he's smooth on the ball. I want to see more of him out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he'd be like my first to the bench sort of in the striker realm right now.
Hey man, right now we have very limited opportunities for impact off the bench with Kubo on the field as a starter, and you see a little sauce with this kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Speaking of Kubo, Yuyo Kubo as a I know he's not new, but as a right wing back,
I love Kubo.
greatest performance.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
by the way, Kubo looks fit, y'all. Kubo
Mhm.
looks
He
fit.
did. He looked like he hit the weight room, didn't
He
he?
looks fit.
Another 1.5 thumbs up,
Yeah.
three halves.
I think he'll adapt. I just don't think he's used to being out there. I think he'll adapt, but I'm not. He's chasing the ball a lot right now.
Yep.
More Kubo on the field for me.
He took. I'm just happy he still took his old Kubo crack at goal.
Mhm.
We had one of those.
Yeah.
No way on earth it was going
but I
in.
think Brian's point is right. I mean, I think Kubo for us has been a great impact player off the bench. So to have him starting leaves us, there's not a lot of impact change we can make midway through the game, right?
He's your sub at 3 positions.
Right.
Mhm.
So when he's not a sub,
Yeah, exactly.
He's that valuable to be on the field. You just make space for him some way, somehow.
He's James Posey. He's the best guy off the bench in NBA history.
Yep.
But MLS.
And Halsey,
If he's not hurt, I like the sauce.
3
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Dude.
Yeah.
The,
I love
he
how
had
he
an
knows that
assist.
player.
yes. The
He-
ability to hold that ball at
broke
the
the
end line
dam.
like that.
I love how he dribbles at players. I mean, it's nice to see that. So
That's. I don't think this is even a hot take. He's gonna force himself into this lineup and get a lot more playing time. I think 2024 is Halsey's year, all things considered.
So Ian Murphy was a great underrated pickup Salentano too, but Ian Murphy 2022, Brett Halsey was 2023, I think Dado Valenzuela is 2024. Should have been Kimi, but hey.
We'll see.
Well, I'm out of players. I didn't get a single thumbs down, so you all are too biased.
Did we
didn't
skip
do-
over Keller?
yeah, we
Keller
did.
and Luca.
Yeah, but you're not going to give Keller a thumbs down.
I'm gonna give Keller a thumb sideways.
What?
Well, when you run your face into the ball half the time, I don't know.
I thought Keller played solid. I thought he grew into the game. I
he
wasn't really impressed early on, but I think he grew into the game this weekend.
No Haglund, no Miazga, clean sheet.
I feel
Yeah.
much better about our 5th center back in 2024 than our 5th center back in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can look at any element of this team and go, that is definitely better, it is the back line. In fact, I don't even know if we'll be sweating bullets, without Matt. Say Nick's injury takes a little bit longer to heal, whatever. I'm not sweating bullets. I feel pretty good right now. We'll see how they play against like a Columbus or a more aggressive team, but still.
I think, Brian, going back to something you said at the top of the show about Ian Murphy not taking space and things like that. We were spoiled last year, right, with Yerson and his ability to take space and cover getting back, right? I think Murphy may have some of that in him, but I don't know. I think it's a little risky right now with the new player in Luca on your left side there. Not sure what he's going to do, how he's going to fill in. So hopefully we'll see some of that. I think we got that talent for sure. We've got the depth. Let's see it in action when these guys start to gel a little bit as the season moves on.
Well, the question will be once Miazga's back there as well, will he help push them forward?
Right.
I 100,000% agree with that, Bill. That's going to be the guy that's going to try to get everybody to direct traffic. Miles is a great player, but he's still learning the system, learning how we operate, getting the guys. Buka, I mean, you saw it with Moreno and Obi last year. Like, you drop back, 5 yards too deep, and that caused a lot of issues. So if we're not pushing that ball forward enough, I mean, we're gonna stagnate.
Yep.
All right. Before we go, we want to get everybody's thoughts on TQL Stadium. You guys were back for a new year. There were a lot of changes. Some restaurants swapped out. Some concessions flipped hands. I know I noticed a new beer selection. So what all did you notice in the stadium? What's good? What's bad from the changes? Brian mentioned extra toilets, speakers in the bathrooms. There were speakers in ours, and you could actually hear the game if you had to leave your seats during the match. So I can't believe that wasn't built in from the start, but it is a great correction on FC Cincinnati's part. But what else? You are exempt from this, Mr. Biedenbach. But
Thank you.
the other two of you, anything great? Anything?
I thought it was a nice opportunity with the earlier game that they kind of leaned into brunch a little bit. So like Cincinnati's club had chicken and waffles. I mean, you gotta
Really?
appreciate that. Yeah. So
El
I think
Rancho Grande. I was gonna say that. Bob Ryan, El Rancho
Yeah.
Grande. Let's go. Right by my seats. Yes. No more random popcorn.
And
hot
margaritas?
Yes. And
Oh.
burritos and nachos and everything. Yes. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I think they stepped up the food. We'll see if it
I
works.
dig-
I hope it does.
I dig the all-you-can-eat popcorn. Like $11, you get this cool little tote that all the popcorn ended up on my floor in my car on the way home. That was cool too. Thanks, Bryan Jr. Oh yeah, so arepas and Rupesh's bulgogi. I don't know, man. My cousin loved the new chicken place that replaced Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever it is, Wings and Rings.
Yeah, I would just say in general, like the nice changes they made as far as the bathroom and things like that. Talking to the club, they are really seriously investing in TQL. This is not we spent $300 million and we're done, but they have a significant, a large budget every year planned out for like 6-7 years already of all the changes they still want to make. So
So I had a couple conversations with some people that was their first time, and they're like, "This concourse isn't to the level of Heritage Bank Center, but it's about as close as you can get." And my cousin's fiance is like, I feel like lower.com handles everything better. I'm like, there's like 8,000 less people that go there, bud.
Yeah, a lot less people.
But I mean, it's a joy to be back. Stadium environment was cool. I felt horrible for one of the kids holding the center tarp during the fireworks at the beginning. Like the kid freaked out and like ran underneath the center logo of FCC during the fireworks. I felt so bad for the kid. I wanted to hug him, but that was funny too.
Yeah, I think down where I was, Sammy's Burgers stayed, which was good because that was the first good restaurant to ever come in that spot. So I appreciate them sticking around another year. So what do we have in the beer changes? Moreline is in, and that pushed Sam Adams out. I think you can still find
Fretboard is still on.
Fretboard is still there, but no Bootsy Collins, not in my section. The Bootsy Collins beer was gone, and they had a new like strawberry ale or something. Because I always got Fretboard last year, and this time I had to pass because I didn't want strawberry beer. It was too weird for me. So I think I went with a little Rheingeist to start the season off.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of selection.
Yeah, we have a Rheingeist spot behind us, and my cousin got the Das boots. That looked pretty cool.
Well, they said Moreline is owned by Sam Adams, so they just replaced their own brand with their own brand on that one. But there is definitely Moreline. I saw it everywhere this year. So that's what I have. If you know of anything else, let us know. Let us know what your favorite things in the stadium to do. I need to walk around the stadium and find them. So really, you're just helping me out. We'll get into our final thoughts. We'll start with the one and only Bill Wolf.
So I had a couple thoughts. The first one is easy. If you did not know or have not seen Nonstop Flight, you need to go watch it. I think it's great. A nice little documentary of Apple TV. Go on Apple TV, go to the FC Cincinnati section, look for Nonstop Flight. There's 5 episodes, and it basically takes you essentially from the very beginning of Cincinnati, FC Cincinnati, to the intro to MLS. And they broke it into five episodes. There's old footage and clips and stuff that they remixed up in a nice new way. And I think they did a really nice job with it. And of course, the plan is to have more episodes after that to start to document probably the 3 years of hell that we went through to get to where we ended up last season. So it's pretty good. I was really impressed with it. And I think it's nice to see it out there. So
what do you call the sequel? Nonstop Flight? We're still in the air, or not?
Just landed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if we finally hit the ground or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the geniuses at Fourth Floor will have to come up with a good sequel title. It needs to be plane themed, obviously, but we're looking forward to that.
Rupesh. Anyway, so that was one, but I think it's worth it. I would think it's worth watching. Again, there's a lot of repeated footage there, but there's also some new stuff, I think. And again, I think they tied it up nicely. But anyway, I was just going to say my other kind of real final thought was, I think last year we started really strong, right? We came out of the gate, all cylinders. We looked great up until Leagues Cup, and then we kind of lost some steam, and I never felt like we ever quite picked it up again. And that's not an uncommon thing to happen, right? You start the season incredibly strong. It's hard to maintain that through the whole season. At the same time, you saw a team like Columbus Crew who struggled and then peaked, after the summer transfer window and, really came on strong at the end of the season. So, I think we saw that. And I think, from a standpoint of a club, we've learned a little bit. I don't know that our aspirations right now are to come out as strong as we did, but more to pace ourselves a little bit. And I think that's probably the right thing. Bryan's mentioned, he thinks there's still some signings to do. I think he's right. I don't know whether we're going to see him in the next couple of weeks or not. We might, but summer transfer window for sure. I would think we're looking at another striker by then at least. Let's not get ourselves, like thinking that somehow we had to pick up where things ended at the end of the season, and be ready to go Supporters Shield again. But let's think about all the other hardwares out there and how we maximize what we can get out of this season. And it seems like the club is maybe taking a little more realistic view towards things. And I think it's a good one.
Nightcamp wasn't out. I'm sure he's got all kinds of suggestions he dropped on us, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sure. Yeah.
Biedenbach, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I just kind of follow up on what Bill was saying there. It's a long season. It was a short off season. Guys maybe haven't had the full rest that they would have had in years past. We started a little earlier with the Concacaf Cup. And, I think we talked about it earlier in the show, just a little bit of coach's take too, is get the kids out there a little bit more, especially against Cavalier, get their legs under them, give them a chance to gel, get some chemistry. I'm really excited, man, about the offensive firepower that we have on this team. We've talked a lot about our depth at center back and our back line, and I think that's going to be really strong. But I'm really excited to see the offensive firepower on this team once things start clicking and Lucho can get the ball to guys in space. And, I'm just really excited to see where these young guys go. I want to see more Dotto. I want to see more Luca attacking.
Mr. Wago.
Apparently the game's on Tubi this week, but if you're at the game, it doesn't matter. So just check Tubi app out, whatever that is. Final thoughts for me is Alvaro Barreal, or was it whatever Barreal. Well, people are talking about how to say Alvaro.
I thought you forgot about him already, Bryan.
No, I'm never going to forget about him and the horrific way he left FC Cincinnati. So there was earlier reports this week. Of course, he's now at Cruzeiro in Brazil, which I butchered that name too. But there was discussions about earlier in the week on that he didn't want to play for FC Cincinnati anymore. And then there's reports later in the week saying, "Oh no, that's not true. He would have been fine playing with FC Cincinnati." Malarkey. It doesn't have to be malicious, but the guy did not want to play in the orange and blue anymore. He didn't feel like his career would benefit from playing in the orange and blue anymore. Hence, he wanted to move. And he should have earned a move to Europe. There's so many various things that happen with a soft European buying schedule that why he did move. Okay. The guy that Lens bought was like under $3 million. There's no way FC Cincinnati would have taken $3 million for a guy because, we need to turn that money into GAM, TAM, thank you, ma'am, and all this random stuff. We needed $4 million plus. Okay. That doesn't mean we need to treat him like an outcast, but it also means we need to be realistic. The guy didn't want to be here anymore, and that disappoints me. I would have loved to have seen him in the Orange Blue for another 6 months to find his way to Europe. It's a business. It is what it is. I'm very disappointed that this cloud hangs over Alvaro in his future with the club. So unfortunate, not happy how it turned out, but also I don't think he necessarily means any ill will towards us. That being said, best of luck to you, Alvaro. I hope your dreams come true, but I don't see a sword pulling for you in the future. Sorry, bud.
I think we all would have been fine with the old Thigh Master taking off, but we just got our hopes up that he was coming back, and that's all it is. Everybody was fine with him going, and then he was staying, and so all of a sudden it was like, whoa, we get to keep him, and then no, never mind, he got yanked out again. I think that's all that was.
He didn't want to play. He didn't want to play a position anymore. That's
yeah. I don't have any hard feelings. Go tear it up in Brazil, man. And you never know. I think
make
overall,
us more money, and then
he will look back fondly on his time here. I don't think he hates us or anything. My final thoughts is to give a shout out to everybody that supports us over on Patreon. Red Lee, John Davidson, a Dinosaur in Dental School, Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Bryan, Waggle, Brian Gills, Dan Albers, and flipping the page again, Will Kychek, Ian Rexroad, Carl Fight, Christina Sharma, Kyle Pohl, Rupesh, Tom Beaversdorf, Jason, who's super average, Ryan Ernst, Wes Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Thomas Stepp, Pierce Johnson, Mike Parentis, David Wiederhold, Rob Gassell, Bradley Weigel, Alex Carnegus, Dave Tingler, Patrick Lahani, Mike Bowman, Brett Sova, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bart Labita, Rob Triple, Joe Lohr, Bill Leopold, Marine Desmarais, Jose, John Caffardi, Justin Blair, Kyle Phillips, Ashley Newhouse, Dan Burns, Mark Klippinger, Justin Gregory, Jeff Tebbets, The Troll, Jackson Fight, Matt Bauer, Pete Koch, Mark Godsey, Todd Schrienbeck, and Eric Johnson. Thank you all so much for supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk, and you guys all got to play in the Growler Cup this week. We put out the first 5 games out on our Patreon. You can play, you can sign up, you can go put all 5 in right now if you want to, or you can go game by game. It's completely up to you. And round 1 will be the first 12 games of the season. It's not too late because I doubt very many people picked a 0-0 draw. So if you want to jump in, now's the time. You still have plenty of hope, and we look forward to seeing how everybody does this season. We kind of was a close one, very close one last season, and everybody did pretty well because there's a lot of hopeful people in there. When FCC plays well, there's a lot of points in the Growler Cup. So thanks for participating. Thanks for being a part of it. We appreciate it. J8 said we squeezed an extra 14 minutes out of you tonight. Yeah, we're over. We hope you enjoyed it all. See ya next week.